Okay, I'd like to call this March 25th, 2014 City of Gardner Planning Commission meeting to order. I'll be chairing in the absence of Chairperson Meter. I'd like you all to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, if you would. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll start with a roll call. We'll start to my right.
Weimer here.
Gilmore here.
Kinsey here.
Lavella here.
Weatherford here.
And we have a quorum. First order of business, consent agenda. All matters listed within the consent agenda have been distributed to each member of the Planning Commission for study. These items are considered to be routine and will be enacted upon by one motion with no separate discussion. If separate discussion is desired on an item from either the Planning Commission or from the floor, that item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda. Are there any items of any member of the commission would like removed from the consent agenda? Are there any items any member of the public would like to have removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Can I get a second?
A second.
Okay. Motion to approve consent agenda made by Commissioner Weatherford, seconded by Commissioner Gilmore. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. There is no old business, so we'll move on to the first order of new business. This is FP 1402, Gardner Auto Body and Storage 2. Consider a final plat for Gardner Auto Body and Storage 2, an approximately 4.71 acre industrial development located at 1098 East Santa Fe Street, submitted by Michael Shane Mitchell of Allen Brand Drews and Associates on behalf of Lance Christ, property owner of record. And do we have a presentation from staff?
Good evening, Commissioners. Michelle Leininger, Planning Manager. The item before you is the final plat for Gardner Auto Body and Storage. Just to give you some sort of reference, this is along East Santa Fe Street, just south of Old 56 Highway. The property outlined is the entire subject area of the plat. Currently, the property, which you see where the storage buildings are, and then the buildings that connected to East Santa Fe Street are a part of Gardner Auto Body and Storage. First plat, it's platted into 2 lots. Here is the new plat, which would, the current plat includes 3.9 acres of property. This replat would add almost an acre onto the west and south portion of the property. It would only be 1 lot, and the plat dedicates some new utility easements, but does not dedicate any new right-of-way. Additionally, with this plat, since it includes a portion of previously unplatted property, excise tax will need to be paid, which is just on the 0.97 acres portion of it. Current tax rate is 20 cents per square foot, which is approximately $8,450.60. This must be paid before recording the plat. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve the final plat for Gardner Auto Body and Storage 2 and forward it to the City Council with a recommendation to accept the easements subject to the conditions outlined in the staff report, which include the paying of the excise tax and the final layout of utilities, locations associated with the easements to be reviewed and approved of by Public Works at submittal of the construction plans.
Thank you. Do you have a presentation from the applicant? Are there any questions for the staff, the applicant? Any input from the public on this? In that case, I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the final plat for Gardner Auto Body and Storage 2 FP 14-2 and forward it to City Council with the recommendation to, have the excise paid prior to the recording of the final plat, and utilities and locations of the state easement are subject to review and approved by Public Works as submitted with the plan.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Gilmore, seconded by Commissioner Limer. And we'll call this to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next order of business is new business, FDP 1401, Gardner Auto Body and Storage. Consider a final development plan for Gardner Auto Body and Storage located at 1098 East Santa Fe Street for the expansion of the mini warehouse, tow lot, and exterior storage uses. Submitted by Michael Shane Mitchell of Allen Brand Drews and Associates on behalf of Lance Christ, property owner of record. Staff presentation?
This is the second part of this project. It's the final development plan. This is almost exactly like what you saw in the preliminary development plan. Just wanted to highlight a couple things. There are 7 new buildings proposed as part of this project. Some exterior storage and tow lot areas. These are slightly different than what you saw on the preliminary development plan, but conditions approved as part of the preliminary development plan dictated that the exterior storage be shown on the final development plan as they have shown them. So that is consistent. Outlined in blue is stormwater detention area and drainage. This is the proposed landscaping plan. The applicant has asked for a reduction in the amount of landscaping required for the site, and I've provided a summary of what's required and what the applicant has provided in the staff report. They've also provided a justification for the reduction in landscaping, and that's included in your staff report also. The properties to the south are owned, though they're residential, are owned by the same property owner that owns this project. There's currently a existing chain link fence with slats along the southern property line between the proposed area and these structures that can act as a screening device for the property. The property to the west is also residential, though zoned commercial like the residences to the south, is not owned by the property owner that owns Gardner Auto Body. The property to the north is railroad right-of-way, and beyond that is right-of-way for Old 56 Highway. There is some naturally growing trees, scrub, bushes along that railroad right-of-way between the subject property and the actual tracks. Based on the adjacent lands, the property, land use, and what the applicant is proposing, staff feels comfortable with the proposed landscaping and that it meets the intent of the landscaping ordinance. Generally, with a site that they have pretty low impact as far as traffic on site, low activity, and there's a lot of pavement. It doesn't really lend itself to a lot of interior site landscaping, being that there is some existing landscaping around the site and that they are providing most of their screening adjacent to the property that is residential and owned by somebody else. Staff feels comfortable with what they've proposed. There's no requirement for landscaping to the property to the east, which is mostly, Gardner Energy, since it would be a, manufacturing district, not with a planned development, but just a straight manufacturing district, so there's no requirement to do any landscaping as far as that is concerned. Staff does recommend the planning commission approve the final development plan regarding Gardner Auto Body and Storage, subject to the following conditions. We do still have the rezoning and the preliminary development plan that's attached to that. That is a project that is within that 1 mile boundary of New Century Air Center. It's gone, that requires approval from the Airport Commission and the County Commission. The Airport Commission has heard this item and, excuse me, has recommended approval to the County Commission. The County Commission is set to take action on that rezoning Thursday. So it's just a condition that, that rezoning be complete before we issue a building permit. Condition 2 has to do with the final plat and being recorded and the excise tax being paid. The other ones deal with the site construction and, approval of utility and, stormwater layout.